Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 95th Annual Academy Awards. Today, we're going to be starting with the best cinematography. I know an unusual order, but here we go. Roger Deakins, Christopher Lee, Hoyt van Hoytema, and the winner is Christopher Lee.
Hey, that's me.
Woo!
That's me. Hey.
Get on up here.
All right. Let me just say, the cinematography lineup this year is all very well shot films, but not representative of the achievements in the field or the creativity exhibited by the best in the industry. Okay, yeah. Hi everyone. That was our really impromptu opening.
Yeah.
So for anyone wondering, yes, it is just Brandon and I today. Ethan had something to go take care of for the night, so it's just gonna be Brandon and I rocking it today. Yeah. So today we thought we would do our little episode, our little after hours episode, by talking about two things. One, we're gonna talk about the Oscar nominations that came out recently, so that's really exciting. We can get our kind of like in-depth like thoughts on like how everything went down, and did we think anything got snubbed? Do we think anything like was over represented in the nominations? But the other thing that I'm also really excited to be doing is we're gonna dedicate this episode to our missing host. We're gonna pick out movies that either Ethan has already seen, or movies that we know of that Ethan has not seen yet that we think he would really love. So this is kind of like almost like an Ethan bonus stack, if you will. Yeah. Well, tying us back to our opening, I'll speak on it first. Not the biggest fan of this year's cinematography lineup. I think every single film that was nominated is all very well shot. I think all of those films are shot exactly the way those films are meant to be shot, and they're very well done. Everyone who worked on them is incredibly creative and incredibly talented. However, I do think in a year of such stellar cinematography, I do think there were some other options that maybe worth mentioning. On my end, Brandon, I'm sure you have a couple you'd like to throw in too, but the ones that come to mind for me are Babylon. I think is maybe not like necessarily like must be in there, but I think should be part of the conversation. The Batman, I think, is deserving for just all in all being probably one of the best shot large budget like films of this style I've ever seen. That's the kind of cinematography I hope that like the kind of daring cinematography that I hope big studios go for going forward, because I think they really put their heart and soul into it. Two other films that I would like to throw in there, both of which got snubbed entirely from this year. This hurts me so much, and I know it hurts Ethan. Nope and Decision to Leave. That brutally hurt me. That Decision to Leave didn't even get international this year.
That's crazy, because it was eligible.
Yeah, it was eligible. It's what South Korea put in. And also, for anyone listening, and Brandon, I'm sure you're aware of this. When I think of some of the best countries on the planet for creating great films, you would think of, say, most people would say the United States, because the amount they produce and the quality that comes out of there is pretty consistent. You have some other countries like Japan. You have other countries, maybe say in Europe. Like for example, I personally loved Banshees of Inisherin this year. So Ireland, for example. But one of the most prominent countries is South Korea. But I didn't realize that Parasite is the one and only South Korean nominated film for international feature ever.
Yeah.
And that country's been churning out great films for 30 years maybe?
Well, like I took Korean cinema when I was in college. That was one of the few world cinema classes I took. I took Korean and German cinema.
Yeah.
Honestly, great choice by me, because they were really good. But I think what I learned about Korean cinema is that there is so much there, because it's talking about how in the 80s and 90s, the Korean government, much like the Japanese government, oversaw and overtook a change, and it's because of like the political and financial westernization there. Not that that didn't happen before, but there was like, and you'll see this in films by Ozu in Japan, a sense of like not hatred, but like distaste for the Western style integrating its way into American or into their forms of cinema.
Right. Yeah.
Like that Americanization. And it wasn't that until like the 80s and 90s that it oversaw like a flavor change with the tone finding its own like unique niche between the American Western filmmaking and the Eastern way of filmmaking, which is why in like the early 2000s, like auteurs like Bong Joon-ho, like Park Chan-wook, all found their like sort of their footing in American like it was like the second like big wave of international features to like find their home here.
Yeah.
Because like in the 60s and 70s it was French and Swedish movies. And now it's I think South Korean and Japanese auteurs finding their footing here. Like Takashi Miike and the two names I've already mentioned. Yeah. And I saw so many good films in that class. Like honestly, German cinema had me. There were some that I was like not a fan of, but like every Korean film that I watched was a banger.
Yeah, dude, they know how to do it in Korea. Like, what can I say? Cool. Well, let's get into this Oscars talk. I mean, like, did you have anywhere you wanted to start particularly, Brandon?
Yeah, so I don't want to start with like, unfortunately, and this goes for I think anybody who doesn't actually go on the festival circuit. I think the only things that we're not going to really talk about is like the short films.
Yeah,
because like, you may not even watch them, in even when the Oscars happen, and they're really hard to access in some cases. So I don't think we'll touch on it. Also, like we're not really surprised about any of them because we've never heard about them. Now, Ethan and I go out and make an effort to watch the shorts in in theaters, but like just gonna say like none of that is really that shocking, just because we don't really know much about it. But I want to start with cinematography because, like Chris, you said like that was the biggest area. That's always your area of interest. I remember before the nominations. By the way, did you wake up for these at like 5 a.m?
No, but I did wake up at like 7 and then like look at my phone. I was like, ooh, I should go check. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because Ethan and so I texted Joey because he asked me the previous night, are you going to be up for the nominations? And I said, sure, I'll be up. And then he was like, okay, because I'm going to be up. And I was like, all right, just FaceTime me at this time or whatever. Because he asked,
Yeah.
And I woke up at 5 a.m. and Ethan's up and I'm like, oh, Ethan, you're watching too? Because he Snapchatted me in the morning because he saw I was up. And then he invited me to like their like watch party because they apparently stayed the night at his place.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And so we were all up watching the nominations over like Discord and FaceTime. And it was just crazy. It was a fun experience. But I'm still like adjusting back to my normal schedule because it ruined my sleep schedule. Anyway, cinematography, shocking omissions here. Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun is a big one. Yeah.
It's the front runner everywhere, and it didn't even get nominated.
Yeah, that blew me away. Like, because like even for me, like I didn't even list Top Gun Maverick in my personal selection. Even though, like, I recognize that Claudio Miranda, I think is the name of the DP.
Right.
Like, that's amazing that he put camera. He had to go and get special, like, cameras specially made for this film, get them rigged up, and like, coordinate like the ground photography, the aerial photography, and all that craziness. And yeah, didn't even get nominated, which is kind of mind blowing because on a technical level, probably that and Nope are the biggest ones for technical speaking.
The only thing I really hate about the Academy, I love pretty much everything about this organization. It's just that sometimes it seems like the individuals within the organization will pick names rather than the work. And I love Roger Deakins.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I love Deakins. Daddy, as we call him.
Yeah, Daddy Deakins. Yeah. I'm not sure, and I haven't seen Empire of Light yet, but I haven't heard that the cinematography is like the greatest thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I saw it, and I saw it with Joey, and like we both walked away from it. Obviously, like it's a Sam Mendes like love letter to like humans and our relationship to movies, which is like nice, and it's one of those like gentle ambient kind of movies. So, like, in this case, like, Deakins, of course, had to kind of be a bit, especially compared to like say his work in 1917, this is a much more muted kind of beauty for him, which is like cool. That's great. But like I like throughout the film, obviously it's a well shot movie. Nobody will deny that, but it's not a movie that I look at and go like, oh, like really furthered the craft. You know what I mean? Like really did something there.
Or even Elvis.
Yeah, even Elvis. Like I mean, you saw Elvis, right? I didn't.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that movie?
So here's what I'm thinking about the Elvis. It's like so aggressive with its cinematography. Like, and I think that's partially due to the editing, and it got nominated for both, and I'm not surprised. To me, when they do music biopics like Elvis, Bohemian Rhapsody, even if Rocketman got only one nomination, like the films that they tend to go for are extremely flashy.
Yeah.
And it is flashy and colorful, but that doesn't mean it's good, in my opinion.
I get that.
And so, like, unfortunately, it's just one of those that stands out more as opposed to something like I think Top Gun Maverick's doing a lot in the frame to distract the viewer from the fact that this is a fake movie, because it engrosses you in the movie like that. And I think that's very admirable by like putting the viewers in the cockpit of these fighter jets or even on the outside. But I just saw After Sun today.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, there are a lot of shots in that movie that are saying so much.
Oh
when
yeah.
The movie isn't saying anything. And I'm not saying that as a big fan of the movie. I liked it. I don't really understand why some people loved it. Like as much as they did, especially within the community, the film community.
Yeah.
But I still think it's an impeccably shot movie that it's beautiful.
Yeah, no,
it's very unique.
Yeah. Even like for you, you are definitely the warmest on that movie in comparison. I mean, among the the stacked guys, and like don't get me wrong, like none of us disliked After Sun. I still like would say I like that movie, but it didn't speak to me in the way that I think it did to many other people, which is fine. That happens with movies. But like yeah, like but I will agree, Brandon. Like there are shots in that movie that like leave such a impression, even as someone who didn't find themselves as emotionally compelled as say like a lot of people who really did love this movie.
There's a long shot or like a long take in this movie of it's an alternate perspective of the first scene of the movie,
right? The TV thing.
And it's so incredible because you pay attention to the books in the foreground, and it's got 3 layers to it, or 4 layers if you count when the TV's on and you're seeing the opening scene through that.
Yeah.
And you see the reflection on their faces, but you also see like the side corner where Paul Mescal's face is. And I'm like, that's really impeccable and like so layered. And it's you don't even have to cut to show this conversation happening between these 2 actors.
Yeah.
And that to me is like very impressive, and almost just as impressive as like Top Gun's like extreme movement and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that is more traditionally shot. Like you said, Decision to Leave. I was surprised Banshees and The Fabelmans, Kaminsky love.
Yeah. I was surprised by that too.
But Tar, love that pick.
That actually really surprised me, and I was like, all right, I'm down for that. And like I said, it sounds like we're talking trash about this list. None of these films this is a good list. But like, for example, I wouldn't
Elvis,
and Empire of Light, and I think All Quiet deserves to be on this one. But like Bardo, I thought Bardo was good, but like it didn't really like wow me with it or really like do much for me beyond because like my attention with that film had very little attention to cinematography, even though it was well shot. I will contest that. But yeah, like I don't know, like there were a bunch of other films this year that just did it for me better on that end, and yeah. But
so what was your biggest surprise for you? Like that you woke up on nomination morning and you were like, that got nominated for that category, or that movie got that many nominations? Was there like one movie that spoke to you like that?
Well, like there were certain like nominations that like made me go like, oh, nice. Did not see that one coming. Or
right.
Shit, they didn't nominate this one. I think like I mean like speaking of After Sun, I did not expect Paul Mescal to pull this one. Like at all.
Neither was I.
But like I was like, and I'm like I was worried that After Sun would get nothing. But no, it got some stuff. The the supporting role for actor support. Oh, Brian Tyree Henry. I didn't know he was in a movie this year. I didn't see it.
But now
But
he's an
that's
Oscar
so cool.
nominee.
Paperboy. Paperboy is now Academy Award nominated actor. Um, uh, Directing. No James Cameron. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought they'd give that to him, but no. That's all right. But I would have liked to see it. But I do quite like the directing list. I would have loved to see Park Chan-wook in there. Um, I think the only one among the directors that I'm like on is Ruben Östlund, but I do like Triangle of Sadness as a thing, so I can't really like complain too much.
I really like that movie. Ethan and I are like ecstatic that that movie got a nomination. I think what was surprising was there was no buzz. No critics groups were liking it. It seemed like it had kind of fallen out of the conversation with the exception of Dolly De Leon, who didn't even get a nomination here.
Yeah.
I thought if this movie got picture, screenplay, and director, which was shocking because I thought All Quiet was going to get it.
Yeah.
But I thought she was going to come along with it, but also it's a stacked year for supporting actress. So
yeah, supporting actress is fantastic this year.
So, but my biggest surprise, and it was a happy surprise because it's backing up what I've been saying for the longest time, is that Top Gun Maverick got Best Adapted Screenplay.
Okay, how do you feel about that? I was talking to my screenwriting professor about this yesterday.
Okay, here is what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to win. I think it's going to go to Women Talking.
I agree.
Because Sarah Polley's going to do wonders on the award circuit. I think it is a really well-written movie. I just watched it about 2 days ago. And I think the writing is probably the film's greatest strength.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awfully shot, Chris. I can't wait to see your reaction.
Oh, dude, I've seen the trailer and that's already like making me go, oh, come on, like fix the color, man. But I kept trying to like kind of convince myself like, okay, maybe it's like a really like unusual like stylistic choice to kind of make it look like really drab. You know what I mean? But like, God, it does not look nice.
It does not look good at all. And I, unfortunately, have really brought down how I felt about the movie in some regards. I think also some of the performances are not very good. Some of them are great, but some of them are not very good. And that's a movie that is carried by performance.
Is that like, I'm curious, like at least in your perspective, for Women Talking, the issue with the visuals, like is that specifically color wise and like exposure wise, or is that more like composition even and movement?
I think it's a mixture of a few things, like definitely coloring, but I think to a certain degree it plays into the coldness of the movie and what it's trying to talk about, and I don't think it's trying to distract with flashy visuals, which is fine with me. I don't need a film to do much. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is a black and white movie shot in one room, so and it evoked that actually. Like it did feel like a little 12 Angry Men going on. Yeah. It's just that it wasn't discussing what the conflict of the movie was in a way that was like compelling to me, you know?
Right.
Like I felt like they have to make a choice, and I thought we would hear more of their perspectives, but it always seemed like it was going in one direction, which was fine. I just would have liked to see more conflict between the characters.
Definitely.
Granted, it's a really well-written movie. I think it's very powerful, but I am shocked that Top Gun Maverick got in, and I'm not disappointed because I think it is an incredibly written movie. I'm saying this. I've been saying this for 2 months. I think it's winning Best Picture. No action movie that is not a war movie gets nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and somebody might argue Top Gun Maverick's a war movie. I'm like, it's not 1917 or All Quiet on the Western Front. It's nothing like they're in the trenches or whatever. This is a movie about a surrogate father-son relationship. It's about, and it's a movie that is a popcorn flick, but is extremely well written and shot. And I think it really calls back to the old days of screenwriting, but not in a way that is like, oh, this is super cheesy like a 90s movie.
Yeah. Like, when I was talking to my screenwriting professor about that, because we were just swapping thoughts on like the Oscar nominations and whatnot, and we got to Top Gun Maverick for adapted screenplay.
It was adapted, yeah.
Like we were talking about that, and like we were like, okay, like by what criteria do we decide what is a worthy film in this case? and like we were like, okay, like in the case of Top Gun Maverick, it's not like it is a beautifully written movie, but it isn't like an awards movie in a conventional sense, because it has like almost like a simplicity to it, but not, and I don't mean that in any, I actually think the simplicity serves the film really well.
It's not snarky to say
Yeah,
that.
not at
I
all.
don't
And
think.
like the complexity of the characters is straightforward. It's not like it doesn't take a master's degree to analyze these characters. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm,
But like
no.
that's fine, and that's kind of like, I feel like it would be weird if like this movie had like characters that require like an hour of thought to put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not Tar, which I
Yeah.
love Tar. That's my second favorite movie of the year.
Mm,
But like, I don't. That movie is an analysis piece. It's so smart.
yeah. Total
This movie
analysis. Love it.
wears its earnestness on its sleeve.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that scene between him and Iceman is terrifically written.
Gorgeous.
Tom Cruise's arc and how it matches his arc in Hollywood.
Yeah, and like the kind of like the intertextuality between like between his role as like one of the last, quote unquote, last great actors in Hollywood, and like maybe even like that ties into just kind of changing trends in the industry, like there's a lot to go in there, and granted it exists outside the frame of the film, but the movie I think does a good job of getting you to think about those things, and that's impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's the front runner for Best Picture, and everybody's saying I'm crazy. Joey texted me. He said, "I don't understand. I think you're being a little too ahead of yourself." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we got like 2 months till the Oscars. I have the right to change my mind."
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm saying it so definitively is, Everything Everywhere on a preferential ballot, when they have to rank them 1 to 10 on how they vote, I don't think it's going to fare very well.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
a lot of people are going to put it at number 1, and a lot of people are going to put it at number 9 or 10. And it just doesn't play to the Academy. It's too weird, even though it got all these nominations. And the second thing about that is the movie that is most nominated has only won once in the past decade.
And
you
that's
know what that is?
Return of the King?
No, it's The Shape of Water.
Oh, yeah.
In the last decade. In the last 2 decades or 3 decades, you probably have Return of the King and what was the other one? King's Speech. Such a weird trio. But it's rare that happens. Like Power of the Dog lost last year to Coda. And Coda had like 5 nominations and Power of the Dog had 12. So that's there. Banshees, which is the other frontrunner, is so sad. Usually they don't go for the downer. It's a comedy, but is it a comedy? Yeah. And then Fabelmans is like the obvious pick, but I'm hearing a lot of people within Hollywood don't really love that movie. They like that movie, but they don't love it.
You know my professor was not a big fan of that one.
Right, because it's not what it was pitched as.
Yeah, but yeah, I did want to ask you, what did you think of the list for, where is it? For original score.
Let's see what we got here. Score. I've got to scroll down. I've got the Wikipedia. Okay, Babylon.
I think that's going to
be. It's going to win, and it should win.
I agree.
Shocked by Everything Everywhere being on there.
Me too. I didn't think they'd pull that one off.
I liked the score in that movie. I just rewatched it not too long ago, and I thought it was actually quite different and unique, very ethereal, and quite unique for a Hollywood Oscar pick.
Yeah.
Banshees is really good. Everybody is like, "Oh, All Quiet is an inspired pick." I'm not the biggest fan of that score. I can understand it, but it's very traditional, much like John Williams' The Fabelmans score.
Yeah.
As far as history goes, amazing. I'm glad John Williams is the first composer and probably going to be the only composer to ever be nominated 7 decades in a row.
Yeah.
For an Oscar.
Hell yeah.
But like, not his best work. Like,
I don't think not his best, but like, hey,
The track at the end when he's like dancing down the studio lot and the mixture of like cinematography and music is beautiful and unique, and it feels like it echoes that 80s Spielberg magic.
Yeah.
But it's not the best. But
No, yeah.
Babylon is the fucking
Babylon is so fire. Voodoo Mama is so fun. I want to ask you about original song because one of my picks got snubbed.
Ciao Papa?
No. Top of the world, baby. Loud Loud Crocodile. Come on. No, I'm kidding. But but seriously, that song's actually not that bad.
It's not bad.
Okay. I am very happy that RR got something. I was worried it would get nothing. But yeah, it got something, which makes me happy.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to get international feature.
Yeah, because it didn't submit. But then again, I don't. What production design? Maybe I don't know.
Not VFX. Everybody was like, "It's VFX." I'm like, the VFX weren't that good for an Indian movie. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty fucking good for an Indian movie, but not. Especially compared to the standard. I mean, this year's standard for VFX is pretty hefty.
Right.
Especially with Avatar. I mean, come on.
Which is gonna win? So it's like it
no
would have been
shot.
like a
that's the instant lock this year.
There are a few.
Yeah,
like Ke Huy Quan for best supporting actor.
That's true. That's true.
That's a lock.
I want to ask, do you think Natsu Natsu? I think a lot of people are going back and forth on this. Natsu Natsu or Hold My Hand. Which one do you want to win, and which one do you think will win? Because I think those two are the big ones.
Okay, usually I'm not the biggest fan of Lady Gaga, but I do really like Hold My Hand.
Me too.
It does evoke that. You know, we were gonna do that at the Christmas party, but I think everybody forgot.
Oh, it's like the ending of Top Gun Maverick credits.
Yeah. Which I loved the idea of that, and I love I love when movies have those like freeze frame end credits where you get a look at the characters.
It's like watching it's like a theater thing. You know, it's like you watch the actors come out in costume and take a bow. You know, like they break character finally.
Like Endgame did that.
Yeah, with the end. Yeah, oh my god, I still remember it. Yeah. Studios, do that more, especially for your big movies.
That more. Or do what Tar does and do the credits at the beginning.
Opening credits are nice sometimes, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Did you have any other categories you wanted to talk about before we move on to the whole Ethan thing?
Well,
editing was pretty straightforward for me. I was like, yeah, that seems right.
I'm gonna go two more categories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Best Picture and Best Actress.
Yeah.
Best Actress is a fuck basket.
Yeah.
I am shocked that the campaign for Andrea Riseborough actually worked. I don't know if anybody who doesn't follow movies is like in on this story, but Chris, do you want to tell them about it? I don't know if you know the story. So you probably do.
All I know, and this is the little I know, because when I watched it, I was like, who the hell is this? And then, or what movie is this? And then I Googled it and I was like, okay, so it's a small indie film. Just beat me when I say something wrong. Small indie film. Andrea Riseborough is the lead. The movie was like pretty heavily shafted by the industry and by like it just wasn't. It didn't gain the momentum that it like you would probably want.
Only made like $25,000 at the box office.
Oh wow, yeah, Jesus, that's small. But somehow like they campaigned and managed to pull her through, even though like they probably had the tiniest of budgets to promote her. You know what I mean?
Right. They didn't even promote her. You know what happened?
It just kind of happened. What happened?
So Cate Blanchett was at the Critics' Choice Awards, and she was giving her speech because she won for Best Actress for Tar.
Right.
And she was recognizing her other nominees, and she's kind of... Everybody thinks because Cate Blanchett's won 2 Oscars already for Best Actress for Blue Jasmine, and what was the other movie she won for? Did she win for The Aviator? She's won for 2 movies, but I can't remember the second one. And she was like, everybody thinks she's tanking her campaign so that one of the other actresses goes off with the award or a nomination, even though she loves her movie. She's not going to like not support it, and she knows she's going to get a nomination, and she was like, I'm going to shout out some performances that I think are the greatest this year, and she shouted out this performance from Andrea Riseborough, and everybody's like, what movie is this? And all of these like filmmakers and stuff then went online and essentially copy and pasted like their endorsements, and members of the Academy, mostly SAG, have been hosting screenings of this movie as like a grassroots effort to try and get Andrea Riseborough enough votes to get nominated for Best Actress.
That's pretty amazing.
Which it's never been done before, because usually campaigns like this are millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, like billboards all over LA.
Which there are no billboards for To Leslie.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they had actresses and actors go out of their way to support a movie that they loved because they believe that performance is great really means a lot.
Yeah.
And there's no politics to it. It's not, they thought the performance was that good, and that's so pure and awesome. I was just shocked that it actually happened and that it wasn't like just talk. So I'm going to watch it coming up. I rented it with Aftersun, not today, but I might watch it in the next few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy about a lot of the acting nominations. 16 of the 20 nominees, Chris, are first timers.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I remember seeing that. Yeah, 16. That's crazy. And
only one of them has won. Because Angela Bassett, Judd Hirsch, and who was the other one? Angela Bassett, Judd Hirsch, and I'm forgetting the other one, but they are like, they've never won before. And the only one who Michelle Williams, and Cate Blanchett is the only one who's ever won, and that's insane. And I'm happy Stephanie Hsu got in. I'm happy Hong Chow got in for The Whale.
Oh yeah, Hong Chow. I was really happy about that too.
And Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan. Oh, just Colin Farrell. Just a lot of great nominees this year. Brendan Fraser. Anyway, last thing before we get to the Ethan stuff. I'm very happy with this lineup, excluding Elvis, which I think is a very mediocre movie that I don't know why, but every year there's one. There's one movie where I'm like, why did they nominate that? Don't Look Up last year. Why did they nominate that? Very happy for Triangle of Sadness being in there. I'm ecstatic Tar got 6 nominations instead of what I predicted, which was like 3 or 4. I think it could have a chance to win if there's enough push, but like I said, it's down to those 4 that I mentioned, and I'm happy for Avatar.
Yeah.
I predicted it. I've been predicting it. What do you think of the Best Picture lineup, Chris? You've seen all of them, right?
Yeah.
Or just not women talking?
I think the only one I'm missing is women talking.
And Elvis.
Yes. Yeah, and Elvis. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Obviously, save for the 2 that I did not see, like, I'm pretty happy with this list. Obviously, like, just me being me, I have a couple of changes I personally would make. Like, for example, I would, like, I mean, if it were really down to me, like, I'd put Babylon in there, but that's just me. I really like that movie personally. Or, like, for example, I really liked, it's another movie I really liked, that
RR?
RR, Broker. I didn't expect The Whale to get in anyway. Decision to Leave and Nope. I'm still a little mad about that.
Nobody gets Nope.
Yeah, why nobody gets it? And it's like, oh my god! And it's like, dude, like the Academy not nominating this movie. It's like, it's about you. This thing's about you. Like, how can you not? And yeah, that frustrated me. But like, I bet Ethan was reeling after that.
He was on our live stream. He was like, I just want Nope to get one thing, and I predicted it for VFX.
I thought VFX, yeah,
and I thought VFX. That I'm sorry, but the fact that Black Panther got in over Nope, 13 Lives, which had a great Bake Off presentation, apparently, like all the caves in that movie are fake.
Wow.
And Nope, 13 Lives, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness didn't get in over that is ridiculous, because the VFX for Black Panther are not that good.
Yeah, they're like,
they're fine.
It's a high budget Marvel film, so it's going to be decent at least, but like, didn't blow me away.
Yeah, and All Quiet, I'm same on there. Like, I think there are so many other places that movie deserve to get recognized, and I'm like, I don't know, cinematography maybe, but not VFX. So I don't know, but that's just me. Nope is so upsetting. That's probably I knew it was gonna
That hurt.
happen.
Yeah, I was worried though. Yeah, I was hoping for a script maybe, but nothing.
I
Just
mean,
nothing.
screenplay was original screenplay. It probably was like number 6 or 7 because
Maybe,
that
yeah.
those were pretty much all locks, and especially after Triangle Sadness got in, I was like, nope, nope for
Yeah.
nope.
Ugh, that
So,
hurts.
all right,
Um,
well, do you have a who do you want to win and who do you think is going to win? Because I
for best
want
picture.
yeah I want Tar to win, but I know it's not going to, so I'm going to pick Top Gun. That's probably my third or fourth choice anyway.
Okay.
Love that movie.
I think for me, my want is Top Gun Maverick because you know me. The one I think will win is either Fablemans or Top Gun Maverick. So it's like the safe Spielbergian one versus like the kind of a little like more adventurous choice for the Oscars. But hey, that's good with me too. So yeah,
It's possible.
it's
Very
possible.
possible.
I think it's possible. Yeah, the producers love this movie.
If it wins PGA, I think it's gonna win Best Picture for sure. But
Mm.
a lot of people are doubting, and I don't know why they're doubting. Maybe because it's been a while since an action movie won Best Picture.
Yeah. What did the WGA choose this year? Do they only
I don't
nominate for
know.
screenplay?
They haven't. They haven't. I don't think they've. Let me check their nominations because I don't think they've chosen the winner yet.
Hmm.
But I know they've chosen nominees. I know. What was it? I know the USC scripters chose Top Gun.
Hmm.
Best adapt. Yeah, the WGA nominated for best adapted screenplay. So that's crazy. It could win too. I mean, the only other competition I think it has genuinely is Women Talking.
Yeah.
At the WGA, since Banshee or not Banshees, Living isn't eligible, and what was the other one? All Quiet also wasn't eligible, but I don't think either of those has a shot. So it's possible, and it's surprising. It needed one above the line to really consider itself a true contender, and I got it. I thought it was going to be Cruise and Actor, but Mescal took that fifth slot. So
Yeah.
all
Well, there
right,
you go. Okay. I want you to start because I'm honestly having trouble finding movies.
that's fine.
That he hasn't already seen that I wanted to show him. But by all means, why don't you get started?
All right, so I don't know how I'm going to structure this list, but I kind of have a feeling, and I think Chris has a feeling too, of what our friends like. At this point, we've been hanging out with our film friends for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's crazy to say, but we kind of have a feel for each other's tastes and what we like and what we don't like, or what blind spots we might want to give our friends a shot at taking and seeing if maybe they like it. And the first one I'm going to go with is an animated movie. Ethan loves animation. I think as a film, it would speak to him a lot, and I'm shocked he hasn't watched it yet, but I know growing up, he loved animation more so than live action. He would only watch cartoons and avoid the live action TV on like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, even Cartoon Network. So I'm giving the first pick to Anomalisa, which is a Charlie Kaufman existential movie starring, I think, David Thewlis and Jennifer Jason Leigh, which follows like a man who's like having an existential crisis and is
very,
like
very
trying
Ethan.
to figure out. It is very Ethan,
very existential, which is that's Ethan for me.
And it dissects the animated form while also being a film that dissects somebody's relationship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a midlife crisis sort of movie because the guy's in his like 50s and he's struggling with his marriage and his family and self-love. And it's a terrific movie and honestly deserves more watches.
It's a Kaufman movie.
It's a Kaufman movie, which is even another reason to watch it.
Yeah.
Now, it's very adult too.
I'm sure.
I kind of want to rewatch it.
This looks good. I kind of want to watch this.
It was nominated for Best Animated Feature, but I forget what it lost to. But it was like, there's not much adult animation that's nominated at the Oscars anymore, which is fine. but it's sad that we don't have films like this every year.
Yeah.
But I think he'd love it. I think it's like right up his alley.
I think he'd like it. That sounds good to me. One I'll throw in there. I'm looking at the way I'm doing this is right now for at least until I think of more like just straight up ideas I have personally. I'm looking at Ethan's watch list and sorting by movies that I like and just seeing like which ones stick out to me as movies that he might like. I think top of the list on that list that I'm looking at right now is Ozu's Good Morning. I think he'd dig it. I think he'd dig the simplicity of that movie.
See, I'm scared to recommend that to him.
Really? Why?
Because I don't think he's ever seen an Ozu movie.
Oh my god, has he not seen Tokyo Story? No, surely.
I don't know if he's seen Tokyo Story.
No, he has. He has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
he liked it.
Is like he'll giggle at the kids.
Oh, he'll love the kids.
But also, like, that's what makes me worried because sometimes Ethan doesn't like kids in movies.
What's a time that Ethan has hated a child in a movie?
More recently, Megan.
Oh yeah,
for sure. We kind of talked about it on January movies.
Yeah.
There's another kid. It's a movie that Chris and I liked. I think that he hated the kid. I can't remember what it is. But we were like, the kid was fine. And also he hated the kid in the black phone, but I thought she was fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the black phone kid was fine.
Both the little girl and the kid, the big kid. I was like, no, they're both good. I thought they were both really good for child actors, especially.
Yeah.
Sorry. Also the Razzies kind of messed up for nominating a 12-year-old.
Bro, that was okay. I saw that and I was like, dude, like
I agree. I could agree, but
it's just like even if like granted I have not seen the movie myself, but even if the kid is atrocious, that's not cool, guys. Like, come on. Like the Razzies I know are not the classiest of award ceremonies, but like, come on, that's a little much. I don't know. Did you agree with that? Morally, I don't know about that one.
I wouldn't nominate a kid for that award.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't mince words if I did think the kid was bad.
No, yeah, it's fair to give criticism, but like to give the kid a negative award, that's a little cruel.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You got any other movies you want to throw in here?
Okay, so I think we should Ethan loves comic book movies.
He does. He does.
Yeah. And I want to play to one he hasn't seen yet, which is a Sam Raimi movie. I'm picking Darkman with Liam Neeson. It's based on a Dark Horse comic, I think, and follows this guy who gets severely burned in a lab accident because people want his information as a scientist. So he's a disfigured person. And only a quarter of his face is still around. So for the first third or first half of the movie, he's trying to find a solution so that he could walk around and go to his normal life. But people think he's dead. And of course he goes into hiding because he doesn't want to get killed for real. But essentially he's going after his love. I think it's Gina Davis. I could be wrong about that. I forget. Or Frances McDormand. Maybe it's one of those two. And he's it's kind of like The Fly in that he wants to present himself to his lover and go back to his normal life somewhat, but he can't do that because his face, it doesn't do well in the sun. Even his face that he built for himself, it only lasts so long. So it mixes elements of body horror with Sam Raimi's signature 90s flair. It feels a lot like Evil Dead and even a little bit like Multiverse of Madness in its execution. And I really dug this movie when I watched it, and I think you would really enjoy it. It just plays to that unique visual style that Raimi has that I think Ethan would really appreciate.
I think so too.
And it's it's a really fun story, even if it's just a 90s movie, Right. Some 90s movies are a little too cheesy for their own good, but I think this kind of nails the balance.
That's cool. No, yeah, I think that, just from your pitch, that sounds right. And I like that we acknowledge that Ethan has a thing for the form of comic book films. And hey, that's nothing wrong with that. We all do, actually. What am I saying?
Yeah, we're not biased at all.
No. Another movie I'll throw in here, just this one I think Yeah, I'll go with this one. This is the Ethan and I have a special bond in the sense that we went through that horror class together. So I'm gonna throw in the top horror movie that I think he needs to see, that he hasn't seen yet. I think he needs to see The Wailing, and actually, so do you, Brandon. Um, yeah,
You've mentioned it before.
this movie's good, dude. Like it deals so heavily and like 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 faith and belief, but also and like leaning into like the superstition of and like how that plagues kind of like the way we fear is elicited. But also it kind of delves into like sociocultural stuff, especially in the setting of this film of this like little like rural town in South Korea. The fear of the unknown is really well explored, which I know Ethan has a specific, especially well, we all do, but is particularly scared of, especially after watching Skinamarink with him uh, the other week. And yeah, I think he'd really dig this one. I think this one, ooh, like there's a lot of like South Korean and Japanese horror films that like if Ethan saw like I mean Ethan saw Ringu, but I'd love to see him see like the OG Grudge
Hmm.
or maybe what's some other good job. Okay, I've wanted to see this movie myself. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it. Oni Baba. Have you
Oh,
heard of
I've
it?
heard of it. I
It
don't know if
looks
Ethan's
it,
seen it or not.
yeah, it looks cool, but maybe up Ethan's alley or any of ours. None of us have seen it apparently. Um, cool. Yeah, that's my next throw in. What have you got next?
Okay. If we're gonna just do triple features for this version of the stack,
Yeah, why
having
don't
a
we just
hard
do
time
that?
deciding
Yeah.
because I would love to recommend him a Kurosawa that he hasn't watched because he hasn't seen all of them like I have.
Ethan's never seen
Um,
Team America.
oh, I guess not. I
Weird.
didn't know
Okay.
that. Is
Bonus
that
there.
gonna
Bonus for you there, Ethan.
bonus? I think I'm gonna go. I hate to no. I don't want to go with one of my favorites because that's kind of lame. Fine, I'll just go with the Kurosawa pick. I'm gonna
Do
pick
it.
I Live in Fear. It's
Okay.
a Kurosawa movie he hasn't watched yet. It's about this old man. I think it was right after the nuclear bombings on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it's this old man in the movie who's grappling with the fear of an apocalypse coming to Japan one day, and he's always living his life in fear, living his life uh, so much so that he's pushing the people around him away from him, like in fear. Like this fear is suffocating his life, and he can't get around his everyday life without being ostracized for who he is, while also not being able to live his life as completely or fully as he normally would if he wasn't confronted with the fear of atomic annihilation. Now,
Hmm.
I don't know if the film deals with the ramifications of the nuclear bombings, but I know it was a heavy effect. Had a heavy effect on Kurosawa when he made the movie,
Right,
because
for
of course
sure.
that was like because that was like very close to home for a
Oh,
lot of the Japanese audience, even if they weren't on the side of pro-Japanese forces back then.
oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
Kurosawa did create propaganda features for the Japanese government,
Hmm.
one or two. But then after that he slowly started to drift apart. So he found himself in the middle ground between playing the Western audience where he was more comfortable. I mean, I don't think more comfortable is the word, but like definitely delving into that relationship more so,
Hmm.
rather than delving into like the more fascistic side of the Japanese emperor and whatnot. But it
Yeah.
was very interesting nonetheless. And
Hmm.
having Ethan watch that Kurosawa movie, it's also very existential. I just wish he would get to it. Get
Hmm.
to it, Ethan.
Oh, okay. I gotta throw in my final pick here. Um, I've done a Japanese. I've done a Korean. I'll do a Hong Kong because that's just how I roll. Um, you know what? I'm gonna throw this in there because I've tried to show you guys this movie, but that didn't work. Uh, City on Fire. We haven't talked about the City on Fire incident, and I want to rant about that. Um,
We were gonna
okay.
have a good time.
Okay, so anyone who doesn't know, there's Hong Kong is known for many things, but one of the great things in cinema is its amazing 80s and 90s action movies. This was a time like Hong Kong was top dog in that genre for 2 decades, and If you have never seen a Hong Kong action movie, go see one because you have never seen shit like this. The craziness of Hong Kong action movies, like the physicality that goes into it, is unbelievable. One thing that I always talk about when it comes to Hong Kong action actors is that in Hong Kong, you if you are an actor and you are going to be in an action film, it is not it's not only appreciated, it is expected that you perform your own stunts. The role between stuntman and actor is something that didn't really come into shape until maybe like the 2000s in Hong Kong, and like I'm sure like that's been going on for a long time in the rest of the world. But in Hong Kong, at least, there was a time where it was like you're doing an action movie, you're doing the stunts, like get ready, you gotta start training, start practicing. And yeah, City on Fire is one of the, at least in my opinion, one of the better action movies from the time. It tells the story of an undercover cop who kind of has to navigate playing both sides as he kind of like goes about trying to take down this I think it's jewel thieves he's going after. This movie is the inspiration for Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. So if that means anything to you, this is a good one. Yeah. So anyway, the reason I bring up this with the story is that a little while ago I was like, you know what, I really want to show these guys this movie. I've never really shown these guys a Hong Kong action movie other than Police Story, which Brandon liked and Ethan loved. So I was like, okay, so City on Fire, let's get it. So I go around, I can't fucking find this movie anywhere, not even like not even online anywhere. So I'm like, okay, I go on Amazon and I happen to find a DVD of it. So I'm like, okay, great, I'll pick it up. We'll have a little movie night and we'll just see where it goes. We put the DVD in. It's only the dub. And a pretty fucking bad dub at that.
It's really bad.
It's really fucking bad. And then I was talking to Brandon, and I remember I talked to Brandon about it after, and we were like, I was like, how come? Like, why is it so hard to find like these foreign films in their original language, but the dub is intact? You would think that it would be easier to distribute the original piece rather than getting a dub and remixing it into the thing. Brandon, do you want to take charge of take the lead on this conversation, because you might be better versed in this?
Right. It's mostly a historical thing, historical preservation. You know, globalization and the way digital media and physical media kind of interact, and it's really sad. And it seems to be like that. A lot of Southeast Asian features, A, to avoid piracy, and B, to increase their viability internationally, will essentially only have dub releases to make them more accessible, even if the quality of that dub is less. Right. And you see this in streaming, even on Netflix last year or 2 years ago now with Squid Game.
Oh my god, the Squid Game dub,
remember?
Infamous.
Because a lot of people watched Squid Game not knowing that they could switch over. Not that they would want to, but they automatically played it with the dub English, rather than the subtitles.
Yeah.
And that shows that there may be a contingent of people who are like, wow, that was awful because of the voice acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's a way to make it more marketable. That's a way to avoid piracy overseas if people don't want to listen to a shitty dub of a movie. But I think it's also a lack of viability as a form, unfortunately. And I don't know why they don't just have like standard people do it. Maybe they don't have the money to like really put together a good dub or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be an accessibility thing as well, where it's like they don't really have the same because like I feel like a lot of Japanese content and some Korean content, definitely not that Squid Game dub, have good dubs out there.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be a Southeast Asian thing when it looks at the Hong Kong or Malaysian movies. Like I feel like if you listen to the Raid dub, it's not very good either.
Yeah, I imagine. But
yeah, I think I've heard it before, and I don't remember it being very good. But maybe that's a thing of the 90s too, because like if you listen to like the 90s Ghibli dubs before they were done by Disney, don't listen to the Grave of the Fireflies one. It ruined the movie for me. So yeah, it's really unfortunate, but hopefully they get that rectified in the near future or future with the stuff they've got going now.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you, man. When I go back home, I'm gonna make it a point to buy like our entire gang like a souvenir each. And I think for you and Ethan, I'll probably bring you guys back some DVDs or some Blu-rays from Hong Kong. So
as long as they're region 1.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it. I will go to the store and try and figure that out. But if not, I'll bring back something else. You'll get something.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Ethan, I hope you like this 6-way stack that Brandon and I just put together for you. 6-way was a weird way to say that. But hey, that's fine. Well, I guess that will conclude it for us. We're almost at an hour here. So
yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, as always. Sorry that it's only 2 of us today. We're missing our valiant leader. But, I'm sure he'll be back real soon. So don't you worry. All right, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.
Evening.
Stack Sundays. Whenever you're listening to this. It doesn't matter.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.